Hello everyone, it's Fluffy! And I'm back with another game. This map is... I'm not pronouncing that. You guys can just read it. I'm not pronouncing this. So I went Sonya because... Sonya only. And my opponent went Kindle. Now I do believe Kindle is pretty strong on this map. Because there will be quite a lot of fighting, especially for the comm towers and the center properties. Basically fighting everywhere, depending on what you prioritize. And I'm going to try to out-Kindle the Kindle, but that would be pretty difficult considering it's just Kindle's better than Sonya, that's just it. But that doesn't mean I can't try. So let's begin. Kindle builds 2 infantry. Normal so far. I go for my turn 1 capture in the more forward property because I want to get closer to the comm tower and the center property sooner. Kindle also goes for the same property. And I could go for the airport first, but just like Kindle, I prefer going for the more forward properties, at least for the first infantry. I do go for my turn 1 back capture, because aside from this port, all other properties take 2 turns of walking and then a 3rd turn to finally start capturing, so I might as well get the income right now. And even if I did go for the ports, it's pretty much the back capture anyway. May as well go for the closer one. Kindle goes forward. Does the same thing at the top left corner. I decide to go for the port next because it's the next fastest thing. And I do the same thing as Kindle, trying to go for the center properties first. I don't need the airport just yet. Even if I got a T-copter, it's probably going to be too late. Kindle goes forward. Kindle did not go for the port and instead went towards the center. Well, I want my money, so I go for the port first. Then I go for the airport. And I built an artillery. I moved my penguin up here to attack the pipe. You did not see that in the last turn, but it also goes and captures this property. I am half a turn ahead on the bottom base, so I delegated my bottom base to capture this city. Whereas if I was playing on player 1, I would probably send I will also send my bottom base, but it would be the other base if we flip it. Just based on which infantry I have first. This is pretty much my first turn advantage infantry. So Kindle does the same thing, using the base that they're ahead on to capture this city. I get my airport. I could go for the comm tower. Nah, I'll go for the city. Mostly because if I go for the comm tower, Kindle can cancel the capture too. Well, Kindle will finish this capture and then be able to interrupt me while bringing an artillery in to lock it. So I might as well go for the money if I can't get the comm tower. I build an artillery on my own, maybe hoping that I can stop Kindle from getting hers. And I move my artillery, getting ready to support this capture. As of right now, Kindle does seem ahead on capturing the center properties. I go for my properties as well. I'm effectively a Kindle over here. If Kindle wants to attack me, it's not going to be nice. and I can always bring my artillery in later. I moved my infantry in such a way that it can support my capturing infantry while still being able to capture the comm tower, if that is the path I choose. The artillery also moves in such a way that it can support this capture later, or moves back down to capture the comm tower. I just want to give myself the options. I go forward for this capture, and this infantry will be the one heading towards the comm tower. I preemptively built an anti-air to deal with any copters that may counter the artillery. So we both went double artillery openings. Kindle builds the first tank here, and with the income that I have, well, first I lock this comm tower. I built a copter and double infantry. I go capture my comm tower knowing nothing can interrupt it while denying Kindle her comm tower. Because nothing can interrupt it, I might as well send my artillery to support my front lines and my center. Now Kindle is ahead capturing the center, like a full turn ahead over here, well, half a turn ahead over here, half a turn ahead over here, and half a turn ahead over here. So while Kindle did not get the comm tower, she does get all three of the center properties first. And there's a possibility I might not even get this one. Kindle goes into attack, seeing my artillery is not covering the comm tower. I mean, it's not covering this city. But I think it's fine, because I'm not losing any cities in the long run. I bring my anti-air over, and I move my infantry to support this city in case Kindle tries to go for it, and that means I have to use this infantry to try to capture this city, the city in the center. I move my infantry to block it from a tank strike, which the tank would not have reached anyway, but I can also threaten the comm tower while I'm at it. I bring my copter in and build a tank to deal with the anti-air. So the tank moves towards the center, which is always scary for me since I still don't have this city captured yet. Kindle protects this line, not that I was planning to attack into a tank anyway. So I noticed this infantry isn't covered by the anti-air, so I might as well take a hit over here. It's a free shot. I could have also went for this 6 HP infantry, but I prefer to centralize my copter just a little bit more. I decide to finish off this infantry kill and sit on the city. Now, I probably should not have done it because I did not have more support coming, but I wanted to draw Kindle's attention away from the comm tower because anti-air could potentially one-shot the infantry. With 0 comm towers, it is a pretty low chance, but the chance is possible, and I do not want anti-air kills infantry and tank strikes artillery. That would be pretty bad for me. Well, yeah, that would be pretty bad, since I could go copter tank and kill it, but then the anti-air can kill my copter, and it's a messy trait that I don't want to get into. That it also means Kindle will get the comm tower. Kindle begins shifting up. And goes after this infantry, killing it. Fortunately, this infantry was not the one to kill my infantry because of hidden HP, and a tank wasn't able to sit on the city to kill my infantry. Kindle goes for this interrupt, trying to deny me this city. And I think I have to retreat because I don't want to have the tank and copter going in and knocking out my anti-air during a copter spam that I see going on. It looks like Kindle base skipped over here. I go for this hit, get the kill because I don't miss these. Not with a comm tower, I don't miss these kills. My Sonya doesn't get bad luck. I built I say it's a pretty nice wall over here. Can't exactly break through to this city and strike my tank on it, so I think it's fine. And this comm tower is still locked. Built a second anti-air because there is a second copter. And based on how Kindle is moving, it looks like Kindle is just trying to deny me this city. There's the artillery lock. And so I decide I'll just go for the comm tower since none of the artillery is locking it. I move my infantry to make a wall over here so that my artillery is safe. There is 2 artillery, which can be a little scary, but I think it's fine since I have tanks supporting the area. I didn't do something very sneaky, and that is I moved this infantry. It looks like I'm creating a wall for my artillery, but what I'm really doing is preparing to attack this city over here with an infantry ready to capture it. So yeah, it does create a wall for this artillery, but the plan isn't to play passively, it's to create the illusion of being passive while aiming for the city. I also continue to well, I just sit on cities to try to not die to a Kindle attack. Kindle starts shifting up to the comm tower, blocks the comm tower, and I thought, all the tanks have moved up. That means it's time to attack this city right here. So, the comm tower distraction worked. I go in, get a strike with my anti-air, begin capturing this. This is too soon for a Kindle Urban Blight, so the only way to interrupt it is by sending a copter or a tank onto the city. And I have plenty of units to support the capture. I then withdraw at the top, just injuring infantry. Injuring the healthiest infantry so that my artillery isn't locking the comm tower, because once again Kindle could potentially anti-air this infantry and then strike this tile. I choose to take the safer approach and have my artillery at the bottom over here. So if by any chance both of these tiles get broken through, I have 2 tiles to attack this tile from. Unfortunately, because Kindle's presence is so high over here, I do have to pull back from the city. Fortunately, the artillery move to this forest also locks the city down, and I have to be a little more passive over here. It's not great, but I think winning this city is worth it. I just have to try not to lose cities on my side. Kindle decides not to interrupt and instead just finishes off this infantry and begins shifting stuff back down. So I get the city! And now that I have the city, I just back off because I don't want to have to, based on how these tanks are positioned, this line could be broken, and I'd rather be a little safer. It does mean that I will lose the infantry, but I will probably lose them anyway. And I will probably lose them anyway, and if the artillery stayed and fired, I probably would lose the artillery as well, so I prefer to just play it safe. I am up in income and the comm tower, so I think it's fine. I begin moving down, well, doing my best to move down. But it is very scary considering we're both within first strike's range of each other. And I'm unable to get an infantry on this mountain, which is pretty bad. Kindle clears my infantry, goes for a copter strike, goes for this attack, which my counter attack hits pretty hard. But the main attack is down here. I believe this top attack is just to occupy my units, and it works, because I definitely do not want Kindle to get a comm tower, but I also don't want Kindle to, well, it's also a tank that I can strike. A poisoned tank, some might call it. Still, I go for the shot, because I can reinforce it. Oh wait, no, I didn't send a Sonia infantry. But Sonia infantry probably might not get it, so it's better that I take this move. I start injuring the infantry so that Kindle can't capture anything. I attack the anti-air to weaken it, and I kill 2 copters in the process. I'm probably losing both my anti-airs, but I do have copters in the area. I send my tank up to strike this while my artillery strikes this infantry. I think I wanted to kill this infantry because I didn't want it to move onto this river and attack my artillery. And also get this tank strike, which is not covered by this artillery. I'm not quite sure why I did not interrupt this. I think I should have went to interrupt it. Because there's a fight going on, and stopping Kindle from getting a comm tower for 1 extra turn would be pretty big. I don't know what I was thinking other than... No, I really don't know. I definitely should have struck the comm tower. But a Kindle Urban Blight or a High Society is incoming. Kindle capture the comm tower, uses Urban Blight. Gets this kill, strikes my anti-air, strikes this tank. That's a lot of damage. Kills this infantry. Now this artillery was getting a shot anyway, I may as well fired upon this infantry. So now it's my turn. I use the counter break, of course. I strike it with my artillery. I go in with my copters, targeting tanks, even though I have no anti-air. Because I don't think Kindle copters can do anything right now against my copters due to my counter break, so I think it's fine. I go for this hit. I begin capturing the comm tower and move both my artillery in, thinking that I can probably do a push over here. I go for this strike as well, but maybe it was not a good idea considering Kindle's Urban Blight is almost filled. So, here we go. Counter break. Unfortunately, my tanks still lose to copters and my artillery can't first strike. There's another Urban Blight, so Kindle doesn't need to interrupt this city just yet. Kindle moves her artillery forward. I think it strikes my artillery, but you really can't tell because it's just... Oh wait, it did strike. My artillery survived that one. Artillery strikes my artillery. Another artillery gets struck. And my copter goes down. But now I really want to dive in there because Kindle moved a lot of stuff into range, and I also don't want Kindle to continue building charge. I go in, use both my artillery to clear this shot, didn't strike the anti-air. I guess it's fine, I strike the artillery. And I go for this tank kill, so that if the anti-air stays, I can just kill the anti-air afterwards. And I have another copter anyway, so I think it's fine. On the other side, I must retreat because my copters no longer have the counter break, and I am outnumbered in the copter game. So I pull back, wait for my anti-air to arrive to support it. Hidden HP, 1 HP artillery holding the line. Unfortunately, this does mean I lose this city, but hopefully I get enough gains at the top to compensate for that. I do get the city in the center. Kindle goes in with this copter strike. Unfortunately, my anti-air isn't covering it. Copter also goes for my infantry that was just trying to run away. Anti-air goes for my copter. And Kindle stays getting these infantry fights, which I think... I mean, it kills off my only infantry so far, but I do have another one on the way. Either way, I get some infantry kills. I kill the anti-air. I try to kill this off, but I don't get it, unfortunately. I go for this copter strike because the other copters, this copter is way too high to support the bottom copters. And I have an anti-air nearby, so if one copter goes in, I still have another healthy copter, and I will kill a copter in response. Build another copter anti-air because Kindle has more copters on the way. 4 copters, I definitely need a second anti-air at the very least. Kindle goes in with the copter strike. And actually... well, she takes a few hits up here, which makes sense. Uses Urban Blight, weakens my 1 HP artillery to a 1 HP artillery, and does a tank strike on it, blocking this copter from, well, protecting this copter from my anti-air, only to send another copter into range. Fortunately, it's a good thing I built this second anti-air because I'm obviously going to lose my forward anti-air striking this copter. I use my super. I go for this strike because Sonya super. I go for this copter strike because Sonya super. I begin capturing this, and I wall off this area to ensure that I get the comm tower. I probably should not have struck this infantry, but let's suppose Battlecopter strikes my 4 HP tank, and in the 4 HP infantry interrupts the comm tower. I want the comm tower, so I kill it off and wall it with my artillery instead. I interrupt this capture with my 2 HP copter. I go for Sonya infantry. It it was worth a try. I joined my tanks because I wanted a little bit of money back. And I built another tank and infantry. Not sure why I built this infantry considering I had enough infantry, but maybe I think I wanted to tech up around here. Artillery strikes my anti-air, and Kindle continues getting picks where Kindle can. Creates a wall here. It looks like I'm losing this city as well, but I do get a comm tower in exchange, so we're still even in properties. Kindle kills my infantry using my HQ. Fortunately, my anti-air is in range to attack this copter. This is actually... I was quite shocked I managed to do... I only took 3 HP of damage. Now, this is what I expected. And I'm considering something. I have 2 comm towers. What are the odds that my copter kills this copter and then my tank blocks this tile from the road and this anti-air will feel super sad? Didn't do it because even if my tank did block the road, I would pretty much just lose a tank for it. Instead, I prefer to start sending my units down to try to eventually recapture this city. Send my 1 HP copter to defend the HQ. And I tech up to a Neo tank. Because there's a lot of light tanks that keep killing my anti-air, I want to get some Neo tanks. There's also a lot of stuff that's protecting the artillery, and a Neo tank would be pretty nice at wall breaking. Kindle goes for this strike, and kills my tank over here. Goes after my tank, because I really don't have a lot of tanks left. And this anti-air is pretty weak, so there's no reason not to leave it. Unfortunately, because of my decision to retreat, this anti-air does cover this copter. So maybe I should have blocked this tile just to continue having my air superiority. I go after the anti-air. Sonia infantry, go! Sonia infantry, go! Oh, it just wasn't meant to be. I move my anti-air back to heal, send my other copter up, and I'm once again in a passive position. So I build another copter despite the fact that I still don't have an anti-air response. Just because that's how much copters I need. I lose one of my copters to an anti-air. Kindle uses Urban Light. Fortunately, this anti-air was pretty low anyway, so it just dies. I send my copter down to take this strike. I attack where I can. I join my infantry over here. Neo tank goes forward. And I'm just preparing to break through here, if possible. Which I don't think a Sonia Neo tank is capable of striking down a Kindle tank on a city, even with both comm towers. So I built an artillery because I have a lot of infantry, and going in a tank war I might just lose a tank. So I thought artillery would be the best counter to the tank swarm over here. Kindle built a Neo of her own and finish getting off whatever free pickings Kindle can get. And so I start capturing this city back because I definitely do want the city back. I move my artillery, hoping that I could maybe lock it before this infantry can retake the comm tower. And I start rushing my copters down because I want supports for my Neo-tank. A Neo-tank alone cannot take on this many units. This copter went down to strike the pipe. Maybe popping the pipe seam might also help reinforcements. Kindle prepares to capture this comm tower. Continues getting free hits that I can't defend. Kills my 1 HP copter. And strikes my anti-air, which is not good. But I spot a breakthrough. So I go in. I strike this tank. I strike this infantry. I attack this tank. My tank way back here is able to help break through. Sonya anti-air, you did it! You killed the copter! I don't get bad luck. And then I can strike this artillery, meaning my Neo-tank is safe. It's on shoals, which is not very safe at all. But it's relatively safe. With my double copter support, triple copter support. This one's still making it though. I decide to start shifting forward. Maybe I can interrupt this. It's just unfortunate I'm unable to put my artillery even more forward without risking it. Kindle starts capturing and simply blocks off my infantry from being able to interrupt it. So Kindle will get this comm tower and I will still try to go for this city. Copter strikes my Neo-tank, but I'm Sonya, so my Neo-tank strikes the copter back pretty hard. There's the urban light, which didn't really hit much, but I guess it does slow down this capture quite a bit. I still have one more infantry, I can capture it still. I can still capture it, guys. And so I move forward, artillery still trying to support this area, and I use my counter break so that my Neo-tank can act in this area once again without the fear of getting first struck. I knock out this artillery, I knock out this infantry, I attack this tank, which manages to knock it out. My copter goes in, almost kills this copter. And I think Kindle just used her power, so she might not have another one. I'll take this opportunity to heal when I can. And even if I don't gain this city, I can hope to regain the comm tower once again with my supporting artillery and tank. I also teched up to a bomber to counter the Neo-tank. This economy is not great for trying to tech up, but I do so anyway because I feel like I have to deal with the anti-airs. Kindle also has enough money to get a bomber of her own, or even a fighter this turn. My counter break means my copter survives. Kindle starts going for this capture. Fortunately, I have one infantry nearby capable of interrupting for now. So my Neo-tank got 2 turns where it was able to get away with doing what it wants. And now it's about to get its 3rd turn because a Kindle copter cannot kill my copter unless it strikes from a city. So this Neo-tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it does not have the movement to strike me from the forest, so my Neo-tank got 3 hits so far. My copter finishes off this copter, I go for this infantry kill, I send another copter and mech to strike this tile, mostly because just in case Kindle gets lucky for whatever reason, and can one-shots this copter. 2 copters will block the way so that there's no way this copter can even strike my copter that's covering the Neo tank. So I'm really just doing my best to protect the Neo tank first, and instead focusing my attacks on trying to capture the comm tower with bomber support this time, so that a single anti-air isn't able to stop me. I build an anti-air of my own because I see Kindle bombers incoming. I could... No, I can't build a fighter, but I can build a fighter next turn if I wanted to. Kindle goes for this attack, but I'm Sonya, so I get a strong counter attack. It's on a city, so it doesn't take as much damage, but it could have dropped down to an 8. Kindle goes for this tank strike, goes for this copter hit. Fortunately, my copter survives. And a Kindle bomber means no matter what I do, my Neo tank cannot stay. Instead of capturing, Kindle chose to attack from the city to get that firepower bonus. I suppose it's fine. Kindle shouldn't know my HP of this infantry over here, so I suppose there's no way for Kindle to tell whether or not it's safe to continue capturing. I send my bomber to bomb this infantry. I send my tank to strike this infantry to strike this infantry, kill this infantry, and it was this infantry move where I realized, wait, I don't have anything to block my artillery on this tile anymore. I rush my Neo tank up, wondering how I should cover this. So I'm just thinking on what I should do up here as I make these moves. I take the hits I can get, trying to knock out this tank so my anti-air feels a little safer. And ultimately I chose to move my artillery over here because I should not have moved my 1 HP infantry. I should have kept my 1 HP infantry over here and my artillery aiming on this tile. Kindle bomber goes in. Copter killed my copter. And will Kindle get an urban blight to save the comm tower? No, Kindle does not get an urban blight, so I get this comm tower back. And my Neo tank goes in to strike this anti-air because I can. I kill off what units I can to get a unit count advantage, because I don't have a unit count advantage. So I'm trying to see what I can do to get it. Now I do make a mistake, and I believe I should have just bombed this infantry. Because what's going on is that I didn't realize it was already day 27. If I just bombed this infantry, I would have a healthy infantry nearby to start capturing properties before the day limit ends, and that could have won the game. But instead, I was also concerned about my HQ, and because I wanted to counter the Neo tank somehow. So in your infantry, go! It gets it! My anti-air probably could have saved the HQ, maybe. But I think not having a healthy infantry here removed my chances of winning. Here's the Urban Blight. Not a lot of units gotten hit. Kindle sacks this infantry so that I don't have a healthy infantry nearby, and moves the bomber up to protect these properties. Kindle cannot go for my HQ just because. And I strike this tank, and Sonya infantry did it. And I run my Neo tank back because I want to keep it alive, where it can be protected by a fighter. Not that I want to lose my Neo tank, so I try to cover it up anyway. I bomb this infantry because I can. I start capturing this city to be annoying. I run my anti-air in, seeing that the Neo tank cannot aim at the anti-air this turn. And I'll have triple anti-air in this area. Hopefully my bomber is capable of fighting these ground vehicles, and my anti-air takes care of everything else. Kindle goes after my artillery, trying to wall break, unable to wall break. And Kindle starts targeting my infantry, killing them. Builds a fighter of her own, which just so happens to cover the Neo tank as well. I decide to start capturing this infantry. Now, I go for this attack over here, mostly because I want to get the city and I want to overload this artillery, but at this point it is too late for that. If I had... It's day 29, which means... Well, it's now day 30, which means if all Kindle has to do is to interrupt the city capture, and the game is a draw, Kindle has more income, but comm towers also count for the day limit victory. That's it. So it's now my turn again. I use counter break one last time. Keep in mind I still don't know whether or not I haven't paid attention to the day number, so I did not know it was my final turn. So I go for this Neo tank strike. I go for this anti-air strike. I go for this anti-air strike, hoping to get a one-shot. I attack this copter. I join cap. And still thinking the game will continue, I built a rocket to cover my HQ. And the game ends in a draw because we both have the same number of properties by the end of the day limit. I thought something at the website broke, but no, I just forgot about the day limit, like I typically do. Well, I don't typically do that. I typically forget about the capture win limit. But that was this game. It was a very back and forth game. Well, not really back and forth. I feel like it was pretty even throughout the entire game, whereas every time I gained the property, Kindle takes this comm tower, and every time I lose the comm tower, I gain a property back, and it kept feeling like, despite what the income says, it felt like we had the same number of properties throughout the entire game, whether or not it's the comm tower that's changed hands, or whether or not we're perfectly evenly split. In the long run of the game, if the game were to continue, I think I would be in a... No, I don't think it would be. I would be in an advantageous position. I think it would just be continuing to grind, considering that fighter will kill this bomber, tank will strike anti-air, tank will probably strike this anti-air, and yeah, I think the game would just last way longer than it needs to. Though maybe Kindle does have an advantage, considering I might lose this comm tower in exchange for, well, then again, I might just get this city as well. If tank strikes anti-air, I do get the city. No, wait, no I don't. Urban Light. But it would be pretty hard to interrupt my capture with more stuff coming in. So we might just trade comm tower for city again. And yeah. Anyway, that's for this game. I have another game right after this one. But for now, bye!